Oh man, I think if you put ladies and gentlemen like on the microphone in the stadium,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it'd be right up there.
yeah, it'd be dope.
And he'd
We
be
should
holding
have
that finger up. He'd be holding that finger, be like, ladies and gentlemen,
it. Yeah, get your attention.
ladies and
Can you get your
gentlemen,
attention?
respect the speaker, please.
We should have him introduced to 100 podcast. He come in, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rich by Monday.
That'd be
These two
dope.
young gentlemen, these two young fellas, been known them since they was 18, 19 years old. They are dynamic.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
They are dynamic.
I'm with that. We got to bring him in. We got to do
Mm.
that. For 100, that's next year. Damn, that's a long way. I gotta wait. I gotta wait a whole year to laugh at that.
That'd be worth it. That'd be completely worth it.
Got saved the laugh. Let me put that on my calendar. Put this laugh on my calendar.
So you know you earned it. Like, man, waited 90 podcasts for this.
That's terrible.
It would
Is
be
our life
88,
like? Is that what our life has been
88
reduced
podcasts.
to? Like we gotta,
Yeah,
we gotta.
pretty much.
Our life has been reduced to planning out our laughs a year in
Yeah.
advance.
Yep. Going out twice a year for our birthdays and going on benders and then going back home. That's it.
Somebody lied to me. Nobody told me this was 30.
Uh, man. Yep.
I mean, I know we didn't really intro, but I guess we started. I guess we started.
Right.
Your brother just hit us on the Instagram page and said he's very upset that the show is not ready.
He did that last time. We posted later. He called me though. Like, hey, where's the episode at?
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
he's not a happy camper right now.
Yeah. Man, it's been the longest week ever. Ever. I mean, we probably want to start with tell them how your birthday went.
That's right. Yeah, Thursday was my birthday, right?
Yeah.
So, um, if you heard episode, it was episode
Before this one?
11,
Yeah. 11.
11. Then, then yeah, if you heard episode 11, then you heard us kind of arrange the, the to go out and look at some watches. Shout out P
Mm-hmm.
Minty. He took us down to his
Yeah.
connect.
Shout out
You
P.
know, a good friend of his is a watch dealer. Um, and so we went down there, and it was cool, man. It was cool to you know, just to go see it in person. Because some of these things,
Yeah.
like I've seen a few of them in person, but there's just certain pieces that you'll never get the opportunity to just hold and
Mm-hmm.
manipulate them in your hands.
Yeah.
So I mean, um, there's a watch that I really like. It's a date just. So just to give the listeners an idea what these things mean. Um, a date just literally just means that it tells time and it has a date window on the dial on the face of the
Mm-hmm.
watch, right? So it's a date just. Rolex also makes the day date, which is
Mm-hmm.
more commonly referred to as the president,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's the watches that back in the day the president wore, and so it has a
Mm-hmm.
president bracelet, and it actually says the day of the week and the
Mm-hmm.
date, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it's just the date window. And there's a particular combo that I like with two tone steel and rose gold, which I've never seen in person. Which
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have. He did have a yellow gold version, and I wanted to trade my soul when I saw it. Which I'm surprised because I'm not really like the yellow gold. I'm not really a gold person anyway. But
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah, I
that
care for the
watch
two
and
tone at all.
Yeah,
But
I didn't either because it always felt like it was very like old man at the bowling alley type,
mm-hmm.
insurance salesman, like
Yeah, like I've been
old,
doing this.
yeah, like old guy with Tommy Bahama on at the bowling
Yeah,
alley drinking a beer, like,
right.
and but
Yeah.
as I don't know, I think as you get deeper into like the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
more and more of it just starts to make sense and it becomes palatable in a sense, like
Yeah.
because you
Y-
understand it more.
Yeah. 'Cause I still don't really like bracelets that much. I mean, I like the solid, like the solid metal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was I think that's still like the wedding watch for sure. Like you want to
Mm-hmm.
have one where it's clean, it's classy, but it probably wouldn't be my everyday.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
the other Rolex though, with the brown dial, with the oyster perpetual, you
perpetual.
know, what? the, the, the perpetual man. Man.
Ah, the what? The what? The
uh,
perpetual.
I like that one.
So
It's like,
for you, because you okay, so this is all new to you, right? This is in terms of like the whole
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Okay,
that's all new.
so
That's why I was
how is it?
like,
How
I
was
just
it?
rode up. And I was like, um, I met the dealer, and I'm like, cause I got there a little bit later, and I was like, yeah, I'm just here to like just observe, you know, and just kind of just take it in, learn, and just soak up the game. But it was cool though. It was cool. I think it was a good experience. I mean, it helps being, um, in a nice area, in a nice dealer, with cool people to make the experience even better.
Hmm.
It's a lot different just from walking in off the street into, Joe Schmo's,
Yeah.
retail center. So I think that added to, um, yeah, added to the experience for sure. But it was cool though. It was cool. It's funny. I was telling my dad. I was telling how we went up there, checked out some watches. I was like, yeah. I was showing him the pictures. And like this one right here. This is X amount. This is this one. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to be a farmer no more. I want to wear a Rolex. He just started dying laughing. He was like,
Uh,
yeah, you're gonna have to, yeah, you got to find a balance. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, it was cool though. It was a good experience. It was a good experience.
yeah,
I, I
man. I
was,
mean,
I still would do an entry level watch,
well,
which
yeah,
I'm not gonna,
'Cause-
because
'cause
the, yeah,
it gets pretty crazy. So for those of y'all who
yeah,
don't know, last week Dorance said he liked the Rolex Daytona, um, as he found out the
yeah,
Daytona was like the most desirable Rolex that they make.
right,
Um, so then not only was that the case, and then we get there, and and he brings out a Daytona, a
hmm,
very specific model of Daytona, and of course Dorrance is in love with it, right? But that was like that was like a $50,000 watch, like
yeah.
so. I mean,
I was
that's.
like, all right, well, here's my card. Let's just get this going. Let's get this going. Stop playing. Just wrap it
You
up
know
for
what?
me.
I was actually
Get it
really,
polished.
really, I was really, really disappointed and I know we're getting deep on the watch talk, but it is what it is. I was really, really disappointed with the Patek, the 5711. Now, um,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with Patek Philippe, in terms of like the models they make and just their brand history. But like Patek and Audemars Piguet are like like towards the higher end of the scale of like watchmaking. At least they're supposed
hmm,
to be, right? There are specific models that Patek makes that I like, but the 5711, the 5712,
got the
and
flat pancake one.
Yeah, and those are like some of the most like guys are paying like 100 grand for those
Yeah, see,
at one point.
I didn't like that at all. I mean, I think when it comes to watches, it's really about your own particular taste.
Hmm.
I think that's like for anything. I'm not gonna buy anything just because it's popular or because it's expensive. You know, that's why I'm like, I just like what I like. So uh, if I like a $50,000 watch, it has to be that one. But
No,
I
I
also
agree.
like the the Tudor, the Black Bay. That was a
Yeah,
really nice watch. I'm like, yeah, I like this. Um, so it's one of those things where you just get the things you like. But yeah, that one was not nice, and that was what 80,000.
I like 70 something, basically
Yeah,
$80,000
I just looked at it. I was like, no, not for me.
on a bracelet. Those go for 100 grand easy,
Yeah, yeah,
which
it's
is
just
crazy. Can you like think about it? Like that's crazy. People paying $100,000. The
yeah,
watch doesn't have any. It doesn't have any like crazy complications or nothing. It's just it's like a it's like a
hmm
heritage piece.
yeah. Well, if people are into it, they're into it. But um, I wouldn't buy anything because it's popular. Uh,
I mean, isn't that
do they do it
the
as an investment?
oh
Yeah,
100%,
because it'll
a hundred
go up,
percent.
go up in value.
Yeah,
I can see that.
that's
Not
all it
like
is.
not to want to wear. Yeah, I get that.
No, they'll wear it, but it's that you can't. You're not able. Like only a certain level of customers able to even get something like that.
Hmm
So if you're able to get that from the dealer, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
like it. You
hmm
can always unload it to the market for you know damn near a hundred thousand over.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah.
You know,
So that was cool.
it's it just is what it is. That's part of the game because
Hmm
they won't they try to regulate it. Like they'll try to keep track of like serial numbers and whatnot,
hmm
to see who's selling what, so they know who to give pieces to or not.
Right.
Um, but I mean, there's ways to get around that, obviously.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, so
Yeah.
that was cool. That was in the morning. Went out there, checked out a
hmm
few things. It was cool to see a lot of those things in person.
hmm
Just talk watches and everything, watches and cars. Went to grab
hmm
something to eat afterwards. Um, hit Santa Monica, got drinks, more food. Um, and yeah, man, just did the birthday thing for a
Yeah.
couple days. Um,
Yeah. It was good to get out.
yeah,
Good to get out.
because we only get out like twice a year, so it's like once it's like my birthday and your birthday,
hmm
and then maybe like a couple other friends, and then like that's
hmm
it. Um,
Yeah. It's trash. Yeah.
yeah,
I
so I
paid for
mean,
it the next morning though because I had to show property. I had a listing appointment, show property early that morning, and I was like, I just hope they don't. I'm like, I hope they don't know I'm hungover. I was like,
I'm sure they knew.
because like I don't drink much, and when I do drink, liquor comes out my pores. So I'm like, what if I smell drunk still?
I feel like if you have all
uh,
those thoughts,
yeah, I
it's
was fighting
is
through it though.
it's
It got
evident.
done though. It got done. It's important to do your work before you leave, so you're fully prepared for the next day. So you can just wake up and get to work.
Man,
But
and
yep, worth it.
you went camping, right?
Yep, yep. Went camping with the family. Um, that was cool. With my folks and my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and the wife and kids, of course. And it was cool. Time to just get out and um, not have anything to worry about or anything to do. You know, I think when you're out in nature, you forget about your to-do list, which is good for me. You know, so you can just sit out and pitch your tent, cook some food. It's kind of like just like wing night, but outside. I'm just sitting there hanging out. I didn't have any drinks. I was like, no, my body needs to heal. But I cooked a lot of food, cooked some stuff,
My body
some
needs
stuffed
to heal.
salmon. It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a lot more outside things. Get back to hiking. because I kind of haven't been doing that lately.
Yeah. Well, did you? So, we're recording. So usually we record on Fridays, so this episode can be out to you guys on Monday. But
Mm-hmm.
we're recording this on Monday, so there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole week of events aside from things that we did, you know, in our
Mm-hmm.
lives to really get
Mm-hmm.
to. Um, and so one of them I wanted to ask you was, for one, did you see the Mayweather fight?
No, I didn't. I only seen clips.
Okay,
I
you
seen
didn't
like
miss nothing, but
a few clips
you
on the
know,
internet and people mad. I seen
why
one
are they
clip.
mad?
He hit him and he kind of like stumbled, and they were saying that Mayweather held him up or something.
Yeah, it did kind of look that way. It did. I think. I think this is
It
the
was an
one
exhibition.
time. Yeah, but I think this is the one time where it was like a lose lose for
Mm-hmm.
Floyd, and I think he realized it at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Once like the adrenaline is gone and
Mm-hmm.
the dust settles, it's like you can clearly see a moment where like the tone of the event changes, where like
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul is like just happy to even be in
Right.
the ring, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, this is crazy. And Floyd's doing the interview and he's smiling, and you can see Logan, like it was like his the point of him being there was to never actually even try to win. I mean, he wasn't going to win, but
Mm-hmm.
um and I think at that moment, I think Floyd realized like I was leveraged in this sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
He's arguably the greatest boxer of all time, fighting a
Yeah.
YouTube star.
Which is crazy because his record is 0-1.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Yeah. It's entertainment at the end of the day, though. You know, I don't think I don't think we're so much concerned with like authentic legacy anymore. It's more about entertainment and making the most money ever. That's the easy payday for him. At
Yeah.
41 years old, how much did he get paid? A half was it 500 million or something?
No, no, no,
No,
that
it
was
wasn't
like
that much.
Pacquiao. I mean, he got part of the pay per view stuff. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I would say anywhere between 50 and 100 million
Mm,
because he's his own promotion team.
yeah. So he
You know
getting
what I mean?
a lot of back end.
And he sponsors like there's all his money.
Mm-hmm.
Anything on the
I'm,
gate is all his money.
I'm not mad at that play. I'm not mad at that.
Me either. But it just became, at what point do you become? And I'm not arguing like against Floyd. I'm a huge Mayweather fan. Like I can watch Mayweather shadow box.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody else has to be there.
Right.
It's not like they're there anyway because they never hit him. So it's like
Mm-hmm. right.
I can watch him shadow box just like I can watch Kobe shoot 100 jumpers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, so I just think that in that moment in particular, I think it just kind of felt like there was really no benefit to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a way,
Besides the money.
this is, yeah. Like at what point is it entertainment? Like, are they laughing with you or at you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like in that moment, people were kind of laughing at him,
Mm.
which don't matter. I mean, the guy, he got a lot of money. He can whatever if he's feeling
Yeah.
sad, he can buy something.
Yeah. I mean, they've been laughing at him
Um,
though about the whole thing. He can't read, saying he can't read.
Listen, I will trade my ability to read right now to make $500 million in a night. Okay, like get out of here. People
Uh,
be too woke, man.
yeah.
Be too woke. It's like
He can learn to read.
that's like that. They be like, oh, he can't read to his kids, man. So what? Your kid is on YouTube. Like, man, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
no, read and what? Let it go for 500 million. I make that deal today. What's the
They
evil
got
queen
uh,
from the Little Mermaid? Yo, if she come out talking
oh
about I'll trade you to read, and for yo, you can read. Go ahead, take it. I wasn't using
Ursula.
it anyway. Yeah.
I trade my ability to read to Ursula.
Yeah.
That's
500
funny.
million on a Pacquiao fight. You did like 400 or 500 million
Mm,
in a night. Like in the way the rules are in Vegas, when you step out of the ring, they have to have your money.
mm,
So he got a check as soon as he stepped out of the ring.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Like they be too woke, man. It's like them dudes that be like, "Yo, I don't want a stimulus. I actually want the money deducted from my account so I can grind harder." Hey, man, you sound
You
crazy.
don't knock it off.
Like, they be too woke, man. People be too woke. They be trying to, everybody wants to be this ultimate, ultimate
Yeah.
businessman, ultimate hustle man. Like, nah, man.
Hmm. Yeah.
Life
They
is
trying to
it ain't that difficult.
out superhero everyone.
Yeah.
How well I can do by myself alone.
But I brought that up because there's a quote afterwards where someone mentioned like his legacy or something. I don't remember exactly. They were interviewing him or something,
Hmm.
and they mentioned like if this put like a stain on his legacy. And he said something to the extent of your kids can't eat legacy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You can't eat legacy and records and write ups and articles and yeah. And yeah, none of that matters. They need the
I
money.
mean, wouldn't but
They need the money and the
wouldn't it
time.
be wouldn't it be like there has to be some way to account for like how you feel. But how we feel is different from how he feels, obviously.
Hmm.
But there has to be some level of retaining like a certain level of like integrity in the way you go about your business
Hmm.
or a certain standard, right? Because if I can pay you to do anything, I mean that does kind of say something about your character.
Well, if it's in the scope of what you do, I don't see no issue with it. It's not like they was paying him to be a whore.
I mean, in a way, he kind of was. Like,
It's
in a
like if
certain way, it kind of
if that's the
was.
scope in your work, and that goes for people, even people who want to be part of the sex industry. Like if that's part of your work, that's your work. Like I don't have any of those judgments. I don't care. I don't care because those things don't matter. When we all dead and gone, and we only got like what 65 years, 75 if you're lucky. Especially black man, we die super early.
Hmm.
None of that should matter. And it's just gonna matter. They say you die two deaths is once your physical death and the second one when the last person says your name.
Hmm.
Shit, that shit don't matter.
I
We all
mean,
gonna die twice anyway.
I kind of feel like, I mean, I agree in terms of like, you know, doing what you do to make a living. Like, I agree from that perspective. I'm more so talking about like, because it disrupts like the balance of the sport
Mm-hmm.
solely because you wanted it to. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to be in that kind of a position. Like I'm not saying like he doesn't deserve that. But think about the guys who are like Logan Paul is not a fight. He's a fighter and he can really fight. Both of them can really fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they're amateurs. So what
Mm-hmm.
about what about the guys who are actual pros? Because even on the undercard, there were actual pros who fought that night.
Mm-hmm. Didn't a
And
Ocho Cinco fight too?
yeah, and so the first fight was exhibition, and then their fight is exhibition. But the two in between were actual fights. I think
No,
one of them
okay.
was for a belt, even.
Mm-hmm.
So, which in boxing there's like 37 belts, so it don't matter. But
Right.
just in terms of again, like the integrity of the sport, like what are these other guys working hard for?
Mm-hmm.
If you can just be a Logan Paul and just go fight the guy at the top,
Mm-hmm. Choose a different profession. I mean, like,
that's
are we all
crazy.
supposed to be in it for the glory?
No, I
We're all
wouldn't
doing
call
the
it
same
glory.
thing.
I wouldn't call it
We're doing the
glory. I
same
would
thing, though.
I would just say, okay, so
The more popular people get, the more looks. That's across the board.
yes, yes.
If you're more popular, more you can get more clientele to look at something or watch something or bring money in dollars. You're gonna be more sought after. That's just what it is. I don't think it has to do anything with skill at
So
all.
then why are we practicing skills?
For yourself, mostly, because the market don't give a shit about that. They care about what makes money. You can be the most skillful at whatever, but if you can't make someone money, it doesn't matter to the market. It matters to you. That's it. Like that's all. The
That
market don't
sucks.
care.
That's
We don't
terrible.
care about that.
No, I don't. I'm not disagreeing. It's just it's kind of like LeBron, right? So like I'm a Kobe fan. I don't hate LeBron. I just there's certain things that I don't really care for in terms of the way he goes about
Mm-hmm.
um, business. You know,
I'm talking
which
about
doesn't
like
matter because I ain't
switching
nobody.
switching teams or something.
No, no, no. But what comes with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So him coming to your team could mean you're out the league.
Other players.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because you got to
Right.
get rid of
So,
so many people to pay them.
well, not just that. It's that team is not going to be the same no more.
Mm-hmm.
So if and this has happened a number of times, but if he comes to your team, because he's like the face of player mobility, right? Like players
Mm-hmm.
don't have to stay in one place; they can do whatever they want, they can go wherever
Yeah.
they want. But that
Mm-hmm.
only applies to like three guys.
Yeah.
You know, if you're the ninth guy on the bench, you're not out here like, no, I'm not accepting this extension. I'm testing free agency. They'll be like,
Yeah.
peace out.
Right.
You know. So if he comes to your team, you already know everybody's getting traded, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
he, and he's gonna be there being buddy
Everybody's
buddy.
lives just being disrupted.
Yeah, it's the
Like I
truth.
just bought a house.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like you
Now
just
you
bought a
must
house, you
leave.
put your kids in school, um, then LeBron comes. Now
Mm-hmm.
everybody's gone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your career doesn't matter anymore. You're disposable. You have to do one thing, which is stand in the corner and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you don't do that well enough, and they trade you,
For the kick out, you gonna drive and kick out.
that's all he do.
That's that
Well,
one
now
play.
he shoots the long ball now pretty well. I'll give him that.
Mm. I ain't
Um,
watched basketball in a long time.
I mean, Kobe died. Is no reason to watch no more. But
Mm-hmm.
he that's the point, right? The point is you could be in a situation that was like your situation. He comes to your team, everybody has to go. Now, if you're not playing well, because you're not even playing in a position or in a space or in a system that fits you anymore. I'm in the LeBron system.
Right.
So other teams they're going to judge you based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they trade you or cut you, the recent film they have on you will show you're a terrible player and now you're
Right.
out the league,
Yeah.
right? So it disrupts something like that disrupts like the just those types of things in other
Mm-hmm.
people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should just always, you shouldn't do anything because of that. It's just those are things that come with it when you're that kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. I get
So
that.
somebody like Logan Paul, it's like, okay, I can leverage my following to bypass every other fighter in the world
Mm-hmm.
to fight a guy who's like two or three weight classes below me, but he's the biggest name in the sport.
Right. Right. Right.
And then you have guys who are going out there killing themselves every night they won't even make $20 million in their lifetime.
Right.
And he did it in a night,
Yeah.
right? So it's like it disrupts because now, um, like Markel works for CAA. Shout out Markel Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And he works with Francis Ngannou,
Mm-hmm.
who's a UFC fighter, a very well known UFC fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And and Francis was like, "This is a problem,"
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if these guys are going out here setting up fights with UFC fighters and they're bringing in all these dollars, why aren't
Mm-hmm.
you paying me this much,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Miss Dana White, Mr. CEO of UFC, or whatever?
Right. Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so now it just creates another rift, which breeds competition. So I guess it's healthy, but at the same time, it just creates a rift. Like, well, like what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're trying to get paid. That's what they're doing. It goes down simple to that. Like, you know, people they'll put like a lot of layers on why you're doing what you're doing. You know, use words like legacy, integrity, all these different things. But at the ultimate layer or the bottom, once you get down to the bottom, is the bottom line is I'm trying to make more money. I want to um, I want to make a profit. I want a profit, and people don't care about those things. They just don't care. They don't care how hard you work, and if you're the next guy up or girl up that needs a shot, or I don't care, because the reality is if you don't bring in enough ticket sales or enough pay-per-view um, sales based on what I pay minus my liabilities and my profit, I don't care. I don't care at all. So it can be two monkeys fighting, and if Bobo and Charlie can go in there and bring some people in and make me some money, like they're gonna put them up. So all that stuff is dead on arrival. People trying to make money. Everything else is everything else is for that person in particular. If you want to be the best technical boxer and not get paid or never you never get a shot, it's just what it is.
I don't think that's the issue. I mean, I agree, but you know, just like there's the phrase "all money ain't good money,"
Mm-hmm.
right?
Who said that?
I don't know, but it's the truth. There's certain things you wouldn't get paid for. If somebody offered you some money to do something and you didn't want to do it, you'd say no.
Yeah, but I can't be mad that someone did take the money though. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about someone who's professional doing whatever they're doing. They say, "Man, I don't. Why you didn't give me that money?" It's like, well, I'm sure you can be offered that money, but do you want it in that way? And they're like,
Hmm.
no, I'm a professional. Well, no, you're not getting the money. That's my position. But I can't be mad at the person who takes the money and be like, dang, they could have gave me that money. Well, they offered it to you. It doesn't fit you. You know, it doesn't fit your whole get down. Um, and that's just how it goes. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I know for sure there's gonna be some money that I'm just not gonna touch, or I'm not gonna make, and I have to be okay with that. I remember when my son was born, I slowed down a lot on working because I just wanted to be with him. You know, I want to see him. You know, watch him play, be with him, had that whole bonding, and I sacrificed a lot of years to do that without going hard at just at my work or my profession. And I knew I would I would not make a certain amount of money by throttling back,
Hmm.
you know, and that's just what it comes with, you know, but I'm okay with that. You know, so I got to be okay with like some money I'm not going to touch based on the direction I want to go in my life or what's important to me. You know, because if things weren't important and I can just make money wherever, yeah, I'd probably be all over the place. There's a lot of different opportunities to make money where I just didn't. You know, we didn't go down those roads where you easily could have to make the quick money.
Hmm.
And that's like our whole podcast is we're not gonna go down and make that quick money.
Yeah.
But I understand why people do it. I
I
don't
mean, I
know,
don't
man.
know. I feel like we're kind of we're in a weird space. Like I'm not hating on those guys for doing whatever they want to, like how they can do it. Like that's I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I think if anything, it's exposing how a certain business operates,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're kind of like outliers, like Logan Paul, Jake Paul,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of exposing how the fight game kind
I
of
just realized it
operates.
was two of them too.
Yeah.
I thought they were the same person.
Nah, they're two different people. They both have different fighting styles. Um, Logan is the one who fought Floyd.
Are they brothers? They're
Yeah.
brothers. Okay.
hmm Logan is the one who fought Floyd. And he was like an all pro wrestler in high school or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they can fight. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not, it's not pulling up two lackeys and throw them in the ring. Like no, these guys
Mm-hmm.
can actually perform.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the experience.
Fighting is hard in
Yeah.
general.
I mean, by the second round, he was like dripping in sweat. But I kind of feel like we're in like the era of the thinker and not the sculptor,
Mm-hmm.
where people tend to appreciate like the ideas of things, or they'll forego the process of things for the end result or for the outcome immediately,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it just feels that way. It feels like we talked about it before, even with the guy who sold the statue that didn't exist or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Invisible statue.
yeah, and it's like
So
that's a prime
millions of
example.
dollars.
Like
Yeah.
I haven't built it yet, but it's gonna be amazing. Okay, I'll pay $30 million for it today because I know it's going to be amazing. Well, how do you know?
Mm.
Like nobody's willing to actually build out anything. It's more so just like the ideas and the concepts.
So is that what it
Um,
was? He just didn't scope it yet.
well, if it well, no, I'm just saying that he
Uh,
actually sold nothing, but
okay.
it's the idea the ideas are there,
Yeah.
and that's what people are paying for. Just like Banksy, or I think that was him. That I don't think it was him. It might have been somebody else. But there's another artist who was like nailing bananas to a wall or something, and people were
Mm-hmm.
paying money for it as art.
Yeah, I think he duct taped it or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Banksy,
what?
he doesn't sell his art. He actually people steal it, which is crazy. It's like he vandalizes something and then they
They take
re-vandalize it.
it. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, they'll cut
you
a
know,
whole building
just
out.
I just feel like a lot of what's going on today is based on the ideas of things and not the process. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why people are overpaying. That's where all the speculation comes from. It
Mm-hmm.
comes from the ideas of, oh, this will be something,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you overlook everything that it actually is in real time.
Right. Why do you think
You know,
that is?
I don't know, man. It's weird. I don't know if it's because social media kind of helps you like see other people's outcomes, so you believe that it just happens that way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you follow someone who's like, you know, the child of a very wealthy individual,
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing them live their life in their 20s, with everything. You're
Yeah.
seeing the way they live, and then so in a way you feel like, you know, this is ideally this is how I could live.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're not seeing is everything that their parents went through to get there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not seeing that just that whole timeline of stuff is all missing. That whole timeline of information isn't there, and
I
he
think
feels like it's equal.
that's what's most annoying about social network because there is no in between capture. So what goes on? It's
Mm-mm.
just only the wins. It's it's only the great parts, only the good parts. People only put up the best parts of everything, and there's no in between. There's a everyone posts like if there's a process of A to Z, everyone posts X, Y, Z,
Yeah,
and that's it. And it is so many letters and steps in between that no one ever gets exposed to. But that's like all of it. That's like
that's the whole thing.
that's all of it. That's like all of life. All of life is between A and Z, and it's never being posted on social media. So we have to be really careful. That world is a different, completely different world. And I can understand like young kids who are getting exposed to that, and they really believe that everything is X, Y, Z. They don't see between A and Z at all. That's so annoying
Well,
because they grew up in that world.
yeah, they just having access to the outcome of certain
Yeah.
things. Um, do you know what SPACs are? SPAC.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so SPACs are special purpose acquisition companies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and it's been like a newfound um, craze over the last like couple years.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, a SPAC is a company that can raise money like you know from the public, via the market, the exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have 2 years to buy a company. So it could be for
Okay.
anything.
So they can raise the money for first, and then
They can raise the
find the
money,
investment later.
and then they have 2 years to buy something. If they
Mm.
don't buy something, they have to give all the money back.
Okay.
Right now, this is why I say it's like the thinker and not the sculptor, because it's not,
Mm.
well, let me go actually do something that would warrant the public investment, so that way the money can begin working right away. It's no,
Mm.
let me get the money first,
Right.
then I can find something to buy, and then we get public money. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and then everything is good.
I wonder why that changed. Um, I'm trying to think about the benefit of doing something like that.
Well, the benefit is I can take the money now. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it's well, I'm smart. I'm gonna find something. The
Mm-hmm.
money, like the money is there already. They're giving you the money
Right.
now.
But I
People
need
are willing
proof of
to
concept at all.
they're willing to
That's
give you the
weird.
money based on the idea of what you could do, not even what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just here's $2 billion. Go buy something.
I mean, they have to look at like past performance of these different specs, right? I'm sure everyone's not getting fully funded without some type of history of
Yeah, I mean, you
success.
gotta you gotta have history, but think about what goes into that, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have 2 years. So if you got 24 months to buy a company or you give all the money back, what is the likelihood of you buying a shitty company?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to.
Yeah, if you really can't find anything, yeah, and just purchase anything. Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? So now for someone who's participating in that, I mean, fine. Like I get it. You know, it's a huge check. Um, I guess if the money's there, take it, right? But but that's that's an example. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't even have to have anything, and you can have they'll give you the money just because of the idea, right? So if all the funding, if all the money is going towards ideas, who's actually doing the work? Who's sculpting?
I don't know. That's between A and Z. No one's worried about that.
Because when all this falls apart, we're going to need certain things that we didn't that we're that we don't have because nobody was building it. Like,
But it's doing the actual work. If they already gave me money up front, uh, they probably just do it last minute. Just buy something
nah,
really quick.
I mean, you like Bill Ackman, who's he's a famous investor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, he's one. He's one who has a blank check company, a blank check
Mm-hmm.
SPAC. A lot of these companies that are popular today go public through SPAC, like through SPACs,
Mm.
right? A SPAC will be public, collecting public money. They'll go buy some company, and then they'll merge, and then that'll be the
Mm.
company.
So, how do we make a SPAC? Don't worry, guys. I'll treat your money well. Just give me 24 months. I know. I have a perfect move. I have a
Yeah,
perfect play.
we're gonna take Rose's Market public. Um,
Yeah, and with that, some fire fries.
but just stuff like that, man. Like that kind of stuff is just interesting to me. Like how all the money just goes into the you don't even have to actually be the thing. Like
Hmm.
it just goes into the idea of the thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I mean for sure thinking too hard on these things.
Are we? I don't know, man. I don't
There's
know. I
people
feel
not
like
thinking at all,
I know, but that doesn't mean that you should follow suit.
and they also ask us for the money. I've had several people come up to me about some type of investment that they found online and that they're going to put money into. I mean, thousands of dollars, if not tens or twenties of thousands, or tens of thousands. And my first question is always like, okay, well, why do you want to give me your money? And it's usually based on just proximity, mostly.
Hmm.
It's mostly proximity. Um, there's opportunities in my feed. It came to me. I was, it, it just came to me. It's in my feed. My algorithm brought me these people, and that's why I'm giving them thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And I think that's just an example of that company or person asking for the money, and people give it to them. So,
But where's okay? So even that's fine, right? Because people are allowed to fail. That's
mm-hmm,
natural. People are allowed to go out and try things. If they fail, or they may succeed, but you're allowed to fail. Everyone has, the right to do that.
mm-hmm,
But when does accountability become a thing? Because and I think that's why there's so much money into just funneling into just the ideas and concepts, because the market is so oversaturated with that it kind of drowns out every single time it hasn't worked.
yeah, it's always a new thing. It's like, okay, that didn't work, and no one's gonna post it that didn't work. Hey, I just lost $10,000. No, I'm on to the next
Because
thing.
it's first of all, if you're a working person, I just want to say something. Okay, if you're a working person, like you trade your time for money, and you out here talking about passive income, or uh you know doing some type of alternative investment that would usually require like a private placement memorandum or something, you have no business doing that. You don't have enough money for that. Like that's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be out here trying to take your last 5 grand or 10 grand and put it in some type of real estate syndication fund or whatever. Go buy REIT stocks if that's the
Yeah.
case. Like don't be out here like trying to invest in John the real estate man and his buy the block fund or something. Like no, that's not how it works. Like you don't have enough money to do that, because if you lost that money, it would be the end of you. They would like you the bank would foreclose on you. Like so like don't do that. Save your money. Either if you want to invest in real estate in that way, you can buy REIT stocks.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do I don't have to give my money to just some random guy on Instagram, because every single example of that has failed terribly.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one example that's worked. Maybe one, actually, maybe one. But he was a guy who actually had real estate prior to. Um, and even now, like looking through some of his documents, like what he charges for like fees and just his take from the
Mm-hmm.
deals is astronomical. So basically, if you're doing a deal with him, you're doing it just to say you did it with him, because you're not making
Mm-hmm.
any money,
Mm.
right?
Just
He's
to be in
he's taking
proximity
exactly,
of a win.
because he's taking a capital management fee every year,
Mm-hmm.
and on disposition, so he's getting a 3% acquisition fee, and
Mm-hmm.
on disposition, he's taking 35% of
Mm-hmm.
your equity,
Mm-hmm.
right? But he's popular because he's an older guy, and calls himself uncle. and he's flashing money and all the cars and everything,
Mm-hmm.
all that.
Yeah,
So,
it works.
um, but you don't have to. You just don't have to do stuff like that. Like I don't understand. But then when things don't work, there's no accountability, right? There's just none. Like we were just talking about the other day. Like a couple months ago, everything was NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was on the NFT craze. All these young black influencers, they put out ebooks, they put out courses, webinars, they did events, they sold you NFTs, and now the
Mm-hmm.
NFT market is trash.
Mm-hmm. Got real quiet.
And so where's the because these guys are cultural leaders, right? So where's all the accountability for those guys?
So you're personally looking for accountability on the internet?
No, I'm just saying, like I'm speaking in general, where why isn't any of that ever why is it never noticed that
Mm-hmm.
it's this month it's this thing, the next month is this thing, the next month it's
Mm-hmm.
this thing, and
Right.
then and when you're saying, hey, what happened to that thing, like everybody just forgets it even happened, even though they spent thousands of dollars on it.
Like, oh
like,
yeah.
like,
I forgot I had that.
what happened to the NFT craze? What happened to that clip of LeBron dunking on somebody that I can watch on YouTube a million times that you just bought for
Right.
$20,000 or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's those kinds of things because like I was
Yeah.
saying, I kind of see the NFT as like a phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Like sure, it's nice to have someone's phone number. I can call them, but I can also call you on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp. I mean, how many ways are there to call somebody?
Right.
Is the
Yeah. You.
experience not the same?
Uh,
I could even FaceTime you.
mm,
I could even G chat you. I could
you
probably
get.
still AOL Instant Messenger you.
I think if you have no value in a thing, like I think if you don't see value in something, you'll never see the value in it.
Well, it's not that I don't. I understand certain points where it can be valuable. I don't understand where you going, because this actually happened. I'll give you a real example. Where you go to an event,
Mm-hmm.
right? You go to this big influencer event or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
These guys. You go to the event and you take a picture with these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then they say this will be a very expensive NFT one day.
Okay.
Why? It's a picture. It's online already.
Right.
What would make it? The experience of viewing the picture is the same, unless we invent time travel where I can go back and relive the moment. What is like? What are you really talking about here? So,
Right.
all these things are being driven to funnel dollars out of people, and
Mm-hmm.
then when we move on, there's just no accountability. But then there's accountability for guys like me and you.
Yeah.
People want to try to correct us on the things
Mm-hmm.
that we've been saying for 15 years that have
Mm-hmm.
been the same for 15 years, and they're like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you sure about that?"
Yeah. 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 This is
I'm trying to watch my words, okay? I'm trying not to I'm trying not to say what I really want to say, but there's just no accountability. Like I just
right.
even last week when I posted a clip to our Instagram
Mm-hmm.
about why the second generation of kids end up selling the property they inherit,
Mm-hmm.
and it created some interesting dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was clearly a point that was missed in that dialogue of
Mm-hmm.
this is a tax problem. This is not, which was said in the clip. This is a tax problem. This is not a transfer problem. You can always put
Mm-hmm.
the property in a trust or an LLC, whatever. Anytime there is a transfer, it is a taxable event.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this happens, right? And there was some pushback on that. Now the interesting thing about that is that very same day that I posted that, I actually had an appointment with someone who her parents passed away, and she inherited their buildings, and she had to sell her house to pay taxes.
Mm-hmm. Real life examples.
She had to sell her 2 point whatever $1 million house, right? With a tennis court.
Mm-hmm.
Two lots. One lot was dedicated to a tennis court. Think about that. In a neighborhood where nobody else has this kind of house. She had to sell that house
Mm-hmm.
to pay back taxes and code violations on a property she inherited from her parents
Yep.
in order to keep it. Otherwise, it was going on the auction block. Now, in that sense, I think I know she had to pay it. Like I understand that. Um, it sucks she had to sell that house because it was a nice house. I wish I could have bought it. Um, but it just goes to show you, right, that all these things that we shout as a community, or I won't say shout, but all these things that we share and we toss around as a community and culturally, like in the real world, a lot of that doesn't even apply. These are just really nice sayings to make
Mm-hmm.
people feel like you care about them,
Yep.
right? And when someone like me or you comes along and says, no, actually, people don't care about you. And this is what actually goes on. We're met with all the accountability in the world and
Mm-hmm.
all the rejection, right? But it doesn't like it's not the same for the other guys. And I understand it's marketing. Like, I understand where it comes from. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's just frustrating in that sense.
Yeah. Uh, when it's your actual profession, you have to know, and when it's your hustle, you don't have to. And I don't see why people would question someone who's been, you know, doing this as a profession for so long, like actual real life, like in real life, not like on the internet. I didn't
Well,
read like several memes and go through a scroll fest and say, now these are my thoughts. It's like, no, this has been years of building my own narratives and thoughts and ideas, not something I've just only read or scrolled by. I didn't read, I didn't like look at several clips on the internet and
mm-hmm.
have that shape my opinion. Like it's different. It's completely different. Um, I don't know. I do know. They just want to be right,
Yeah.
and they want you to be wrong.
Well, because they don't. Nobody wants to feel like someone they love has lied to them
Mm-hmm.
because they're getting this information from people that care about or people who are saying they care about them.
Yeah.
And you come along and say, actually, no, it doesn't work like that. That means they lied to them.
Mm-hmm. It's better. It's better for you to be a liar because I don't. I
Exactly.
really don't know you like that.
It's easier. It's much easier for me to be a liar.
Yeah. Like, no, you lie. You lie. My
Or they
uncle
can
wouldn't lie to me.
they can call you a name or they can call you whatever. It's easier for you to be that than to go back and look
Mm-hmm.
at their whoever told them that. I'm not saying like when someone says something, they should never be met with some type of there should never be room for discourse or something. No, like it's good that these conversations you know
Mm-hmm.
draw up dialogue because that's a learning experience for everyone involved, even me, because there could be something that I don't know in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think ultimately what I tweeted this. Um, I hate saying stuff like that because it just makes you sound douchey. But like
I
I tweeted
proclaim this
this.
to the world.
Yeah. Will posted something on Twitter and I retweeted it and about our show.
Mm-hmm.
And I tweeted this and I know in the world we live in, people say things like this as a means to present themselves of, of higher value, or
Mm-hmm.
to build themselves up. But when I really thought about it, I was like, this is not a flex. This is reality. Like this is the reality. And what I
Mm-hmm.
said was, because he said something about the show, and I said, it would take you decades and probably tens of millions of dollars to get this information, and we're giving it
Mm-hmm.
out for free.
Right.
And that's not a lie. Like, because in order for someone to, like, normally people wouldn't hear from us in these regards because they're
Mm-hmm.
not in a position to. They're not in a position to hire us.
Mm-hmm.
It would take someone who's built up, um, you know, wealth over time, over decades, and had, you know, some money or whatever, that had some certain types of problems. It would take that person to call you.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I wouldn't talk to you. I would expect you to think I'm a liar because you don't have enough money to even talk to me on that in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a again, that's not a flex. It's just reality.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a normal sense in the world, you would not be able to hire me. Now your grandmother might be able to hire me,
Mm-hmm.
or your father might be able to hire me.
Where your
So they would get
mom's
this
at?
information.
Where
But
your mom's at?
but that's why it might sound foreign, or it might sound like a lie, or it may not resonate upon, you know, your first hearing of certain information, is because it's not for you.
I think it's the bigger issue of um sharing what you know with the wrong audience. It's like,
Hmm.
and I think this is what the internet is about. Anybody can kind of scroll through and they can be a part of your audience when they wouldn't be there otherwise. And it's just part of it now. I see some people social media and they might have something. And it's just all kind of random comments from people who are from different worlds, giving their opinion on a world they're not part of or know nothing about or very little. And that's what I was telling you. Like, well, this is what happens when you start a conversation, especially on the internet. Everyone joins.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be back in the day where you had a networking event of your peers having these different conversations, and you can have some type of like real discourse, and because everyone is most likely on the same level of knowledge,
Hmm.
or a professional in their scope of whatever they're doing. um, when you're on the internet, any Joe Smoke can just walk by and say, "Hey, what you doing over there sucks. You should do it this way." And
I
it's like,
hate
well, who
that.
are you?
I
Where'd
hate
you come
that.
from? And now you're arguing with somebody um, that should even be in the room.
Exactly.
And that's the difference with the internet, as opposed to real life, like in real life,
Hmm.
um, conversations. And I think it's just what comes with it. And I think uh, we're gonna have to get used to it pretty quickly, um, especially when stuff starts gaining steam. You know, and it's like, because I mean that can be one reason you're like, you know what, that's gonna be that gnawing thing. Like, why I don't even have to do this. We'll be back to episode one. I don't even have to do this. But now I'm exposing myself to so much bull, and I don't have to. So we have to figure it out.
I
We
mean,
have to really really be able to. I don't know. We have to just talk about it. Who's talking about it, but
yeah.
really have to
I'm
be
I'm
able to
healthy. I mean, healthy.
compartmentalize. You know.
I'm happy with healthy conversation, which which a lot of it was like, the everything that people said was like healthy conversation. It was nothing like disrespectful. I mean, there was one lady who I felt like she tried to, because people try to make an example out of you, and again, I say it jokingly, but I mean it. Like, my life is too real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't live on. You're not gonna say something crazy to me, and just think you can put your phone in your pocket and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not it's not how this works. Like, I'm gonna find you. Okay. Like, like, I'm gonna find you.
Oh my god.
All right. Like, and there was a like there's an example of there's a guy I think maybe a year or two ago. I think you remember that, and he was trying to argue with me on Facebook about something, and he like called me an Uncle Tom or something crazy, and I called him. I called his phone.
You
Right.
like this you 1 2 3 ABC Lane?
Yo, I'm gonna. It doesn't work like listen. I'm gonna find you. Okay, it's my job to find people. I am going to find you. It is not over if you come over and do something disrespectful and think that it's over. Like it's not. That's not how this works. Now I'm fine with just having a conversation, and we're both talking, figuring things out. I listen to your point, you listen to mine. Even if we agree to disagree, that's fine. Don't come and try to make an example though, because like that's not, that's where I draw the line for me. Because I won't even say nothing no more. I just go find you. Like I'll leave that comment right there, and then I'll just go find you. I figure out where you live, your phone number, all that.
You got a Excel sheet of blacklists. Like, okay.
That makes you think like
Okay.
all these uh all these random events that happen to people that they catch on video and stuff. They ain't so random. I'm gonna tell you that right.
That's why I'd be real like respectful to everyone.
Oh man.
Just on the fact that just well, that's how you should be. But just like you don't just know. You don't know.
You don't know
Like
who's who, man. You don't know
you
who
don't
I
know.
am.
You don't know.
You don't know who anybody is.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So yeah, we don't encourage any violence against anyone.
Oh no, not at all. I'm not even talking about violence. No. Might get an angry letter or something. I don't know.
Handwritten.
Yeah.
Stamped.
But so it for me is that's the part that, you know, that I get most annoyed with. Anything else is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's healthy. I don't have a problem with that because
Mm-hmm.
it's all learning experience. But when people come over and try to just get big with you, that's when they lose me, and
Mm-hmm.
it's no longer healthy. But
Yeah, we're going to get used to the toxic parts too, because it's gonna come.
I'm just gonna start turning comments off.
It's gonna come.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, please like, subscribe, and comment. Just in case that comment's crazy, just know.
Yeah. But
That's funny.
going back to that the appointment I brought up though, that was actually a really interesting um situation. It's actually really sad because that's like the part about my job that I don't really like.
Mm-hmm. Which part?
Because well, just being involved in like the emotional,
Mm-hmm.
being involved with people on that type of thing, like the emotional
Right.
level, um, helping them kind of work through that while trying to like maintain a certain level of, you know,
Professionalism.
yeah, because it's not an easy thing to deal with. Like someone who,
Mm-mm.
especially for her, like she has her own problems, and now her parents' dream per se has
Mm-hmm.
been like dumped in her lap, and she's
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to make it work, and then she's finding out that um, as she's going through this, she's finding out that everything that they did wasn't necessarily the right way, and so
Mm-hmm.
now she's paying for it, right? So this is the whole thing that's being perpetuated amongst our community of generational wealth. Never sell
Mm-hmm.
nothing, pass it on to your kids, let them hold it until they die, and all that kind of stuff, right? But then
Yeah.
then you come to find out that your parents were just regular people too, and they did stupid stuff too with the things that they own. And so when they pass it to you, now you got to pay for it.
And we don't talk about the ability for the next generation to manage it. No one's talking about that at all. No one's talking about teaching kids how to manage it, and if they want to do it at all. Which, in my experience, they don't.
No.
It's interesting with people who have money or have resources. Um, And it's not surprising that their kids don't want to do that. They've done that their whole life. You know, it's part of their world. So it's just like it's not a thing. It's like if you get up every day and you eat, you know, some boiled eggs and bacon, and you're trying to convince, and you fed that to your kid as they grew up, and you're trying to convince them to go off on their own and also do the same thing. It's like, well, I don't want that. I want something else. I want something else to
Hmm.
eat for breakfast. You know, so it's one of those things where um, you have to really be sure that or not so much be sure, but let go of the fact sometimes that the next generation may not be prepared or may not be willing to take on what you built.
But that's because
And
it's
it can
your
be
dream.
and it can be fumbled. It can be fumbled, it can be lost,
Hmm.
which is what we're really talking about. We're talking about conserving a legacy, but in a different way. So it's not about holding on to the dilapidated properties that your grandfather and grandmother had. It's about using that time and resource and equity and sweat equity they put into it to transfer it into something else that's going to be beneficial to the family long term, that you can manage, that you can handle. There's no sense in keeping things in your life that you can't manage only until you eventually lose them or until they depreciate so much where they're worth nothing. And I think that's the thing where that doesn't get talked about much, because that's what I'm saying. And people hold on to things until they depreciate and so much until they're worth nothing. Like
Hmm.
everything in life has a maintenance. Like it's I call it the maintenance of life, the maintenance of life. Everything you bring into your world, you have to maintain, whether it's a physical item or a relationship. And you have to be willing to put the energy into it, the energy and the money and the time into managing that thing or relationship. And if you can't manage it, it's going to crumble and it's not going to be worth what it was at the beginning of you taking on that responsibility.
Hmm.
So my whole thing is if you can't manage it, don't bring it into your world. You know, it may not be smart to buy a new car or to buy um, you know, all these different clothes or all these whatever it is. It may not be smart to start new relationships because you can't manage them, right? And you started something up, and now you can't manage what you started. So it's the same for these properties that a lot of these older people hold on to. And these are people are like, 60, 70, 80 years old.
Hmm.
And they spent the last 40 years, 50 years building this, but also not teaching the next generation, either because they weren't interested or because they could not handle it. And then once they passed, it ends up getting either lost or sold or not reinvested, the money not reinvested many times and just squandered. So I think those calls of keep everything in the family or keep everything forever, those are the loudest voices are people who are poor who don't have those things. That's what's going on, and they're just the loudest voice, which makes sense because there's more poor people than there are wealthy people,
Hmm.
right? Just numbers. So um, the loudest voices we hearing are people who don't have any experience in holding on to wealth or managing wealth at all. It's just what they think they would do or what they think they would like to do or what they want for their kids. It's not based on actual experience. And I think that's what's the most frustrating part, where you can take somebody and say, no, I have real experience in this. This is what my clients are going. This is what their family's going through. You should consider doing it this way. But if you got, let's say if you got 100 people on the internet and 98 of them are saying buy, buy the real estate and keep it forever, no matter if you can maintain it or the next generation wants it. And then you got two people like, hey guys, you should do this.
Yeah.
Like it's very easily to get drowned out by that. So in that aspect, we like fighting a tide, a tidal wave of poor thought and leadership. And and we're fighting what people think they should do without any real experience having done it or having helped somebody actually do it.
Hasn't that always been the thing though? I mean, we started in real estate as teenagers. Nobody was trying to listen to us.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of used to it, kind of jaded really by it. I'm like, okay. And what's interesting in our profession, most the reason why you never hear these things for us because you only go to the people who have we'll only talk to the people who need that service. We go to them
Mm-hmm.
directly. You know, we go to them directly because I mean it's much easier to speak to somebody who can um who can use your information. It's more easier and profitable. And this is why you don't hear these different concepts from people uh, that wouldn't be talking to you about them anyway. And that's just what it is because
Yeah.
these people who are professionals in these arenas, they have to feed their families too. So every now and then, you used to see like, okay, I'm giving a talk at the local YCMA or
YMCA.
YMC or the local association somewhere, and I'll be there for an hour speaking on these concepts, and that's like their idea of giving back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to build a business with your clientele pushing back the whole time. And I think most people will just rather just not fight that tide.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of
Yeah.
them. That's what I'm saying. Like it's even talking to her initially because when I get there, so the I'm not gonna tell you I'm not gonna say where the building is. I've
Yeah,
already
we don't
told
say
you,
that.
but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say where everything is. But it's in an area of LA where um, the homeless population has grown like dramatically. But these aren't just homeless people. These are people who are on drugs and obviously have mental issues. Like it's deeper than just you know being homeless. And um, the building isn't in the best shape because, of course, it's an older construction, but throughout the years there hasn't really been anyone to maintain it on that level,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's water damage and there's all kinds of things, and and she's someone who um, is trying to maintain all of this with the money she got from the house. And as soon as I get there, I'm like, this is gonna break you.
Yeah.
Like she
Mm-hmm.
has a because it's an office building, and so and the main tenant isn't even paying rent. She hasn't paid
Mm-hmm.
rent in 6 months.
Yeah.
Right, and this is a doctor that has they have patients that come every day. She has staff and everything. She pays them and all that, but she
Yeah.
hasn't paid rent. Right, so
That's somebody taking advantage of a mismanaged building.
exactly.
That's exactly what I just talked about. Complete mismanaged building. If a property manager was there in place, or you have somebody proficient in handling tenants, that wouldn't happen. But those type of opportunities, like a mismanaged building, are opportunities for investors who see value in that. That's a value add play for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just another example of holding on to real estate you can't maintain, and you're just making it valuable opportunities for the next investor.
Yeah, because
And then you complain it's gentrification.
at some
It's like,
point
no,
it's
you made the perfect setup for someone to come in and see value in that building that's
hmm
been completely mismanaged for 20 years.
probably
You
longer
set
than
that
that.
up.
Probably
You
it's
set it
probably
up.
longer than that. Yeah.
You set up that opportunity. It's not gentrification. It's someone who sees opportunity in a mismanaged real estate portfolio that could have
hmm
easily been sold earlier at the height of its working nature, where it's probably multiple tenants, sold and leveraged into something else that could be easily managed by the next generation, like a triple net lease property. There's going to be
Yeah.
an anchor
Ultimately, yeah.
tenant in
Exactly.
15, 20-year lease, and you're going to get paid. So it's just like But we can't even talk about that until we get over the hump of sell this shit. Like that's the first step of like this shit is not what it is.
Nah, man.
Like sell it.
I will say, she was receptive. So initially, because when I got there, I knew immediately when I saw the property, you got to get out of here,
Yeah.
right? Because she's living there, right? So her father built apartment units in the back. He built them himself. They're not permitted,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So naturally, when he passes, she inherits. She takes possession. Um, an inspector comes by because the building has to be insurable, right? They
Mm-hmm.
they walk the property. None of this here is the code. So
Yeah.
you need to take it all out and bring the building back to what it was.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now she has to pay for that. So she's living there, low key, in one of the units. So she moved everything from her 5-bedroom house, 6-bedroom house, to like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when I get there, I'm like, you need to really consider selling this property.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh no, this is my heart. I said, that's fine, but I'm doing my job. Like this is my job. My job is to help you, right? My job is not to let you dwindle your entire your existence away over
Mm-hmm.
how you feel. Like this place will always be here. It's earth, it's dirt, whatever. You can
Mm-hmm.
always drive up and down the block and see what it was.
Right.
But you need to sell this and put the money somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste $500,000 in renovations, in fees from the city, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not just her, it's not just that property, it's the property next door as well that they own. That's a parking lot that she's renting to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that tenant has also gone and built something on that
Unpermitted.
that's unpermitted. So now she's
Yeah.
getting fees for both,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm like, you need to just sell all this, and we can put you in something nice that because she's not in the position to manage the building. We can
Mm-hmm.
put you in something that's hands free, and you just get a check every month.
Yeah.
And she was very like, as we walked the property and we're talking about things, she became more receptive to the idea of why after we had
Mm-hmm.
a real conversation about it. Um, and she has a daughter who is likely going to move out of state. So she's like, well, I wanted to leave this for her, but she's moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's
And
living her own life. She's building her own
so
dream.
what is it for?
Mm-hmm. She's building
If
her own
she's
dream.
if you want to leave her something that she doesn't have to manage,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously she doesn't want to.
Right. She don't do it anyway. Yeah.
Like our your parents' dream is not, and I think that's something that happens. Maybe that's something, I don't know if it's like within our community or just culturally at the moment because of what's going on, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like people are trying to live their dreams through their kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like your kid is there, like they're gonna be their own person.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to live your dream. Just like our life and our dreams aren't our parents.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They had their own. They did what they had to do to get here to make our life what it is today. Everything they did is the reason why we can do what we're doing now,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So why why would one assume that you can just give your kids your life and it's okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I gave up on that like a few years ago when I had the whole thing. Yeah, I'm gonna build this business and my son can come in, he can work here. And then one day it just hit me like, what if he don't want to do this? Like then like what is it for?
Exactly.
So it's like you got to get back to the core of like, well, no, I'm actually doing this for me, and your why doesn't have to be like literally tethered to your offspring because they're gonna cut it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't fit them.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I mean, it's nice to maybe have something that our kids can plug into if they needed to, but I can't expect that it's going to be their dream to um to move forward and to hold and to build. I think that's
No.
unrealistic for a parent.
Yeah, I
And
would. I
it
would.
took me a long time to let that go. You know, what if you want to? I don't know. What if you want to go to the moon with Elon, or
Or Bezos.
yeah, or play a piano, or be an entertainer, or I hope not, but a doctor, or all these different things. I'm gonna be like, no, you got to do this. Run my business. Hold on to my legacy. Manage my properties. It's like that's creepy.
I mean, when you say it like that, it does sound like, yeah, it does sound kind of bad. I ain't gonna lie.
That's horrible,
It's like, is this
right?
jail? Like, what is
Because I
this?
wouldn't have done that. If you think about, would you have done that?
No,
Hey, son, take over my position on what I'm doing, what I've been doing the last 30 years.
no.
And it's not that it was a bad position at all. Those are positions that raised us and fed us, but it was not our dream. You know.
It
So
wasn't. It wasn't for us. Like that was for them.
right. So it's unrealistic to think that our kids will want to do exactly what we're doing or build um, on what we're building. Like, hey, son, this is the thousandth or so many episodes of Rich by Monday, and you're gonna start hosting it now. It's like what? No, no, that's
I
your
mean, it's.
thing.
I don't know, but I've seen that go both ways. Like where, and I lean more so on that side. Like I'm gonna grant. I feel like it just makes sense to allow your child to be whoever they are gonna be. Like it's no need
Mm-hmm.
to force your dreams, your life, and all that kind of stuff on them.
Yeah.
You know, just place all your shortcomings on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I've also seen the flip side of that because right now, like cutoff culture is a thing, and so
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it to where kids feel like their parents didn't do enough or aren't doing enough to do these kinds of things,
Mm-hmm.
and social media will tell you you need to cut them off. You know, friends and family, you need to cut them off. Who, you know, if y'all ain't talking about stocks and business and all, you need to cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's like a two-sided coin, like which sucks as a parent because it's like, damn, like what am I supposed to do? like, 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 wait a minute, like
Right.
I'm somebody's dad. Is my
It's
child gonna
like
hate me?
it's like, look, I did my best out here. You alive? You can think about like an infant who can't do anything for themselves.
Yeah,
And that infant grows up, they make it to 18, 21 years old, and they say you didn't do enough. Like, no, you couldn't do anything. You would have died without me. like, like that's the most ultimate flex that any parent would never say to their kid because they love them that much.
I think my dad
So,
has told me that a couple times.
so it's like you're here because of me. Like your whole existence, you made it.
Yeah,
I think it's just that's some low level thinking to think that just because anybody is not interested in what you're now interested in the last 24 months is now useless to you when they raised you for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, or whatever it is, consistently there in your life, and now it's like you're useless to me because you don't know how to turn $1,000 into 2,000 by picking the right stocks, or you don't know how to buy an apartment building. It's like that's not my profession. It's not
yeah.
what
It's no, we do.
it's
Like,
not, it's not what I do. Go
yeah,
get that from some. It's not. It's not your parents or your immediate friends responsibility to teach you all the things you're interested in, whether they're in, about finance or working on cars or how to dress, whatever it is. It's not their responsibility. Whatever you're interested in as a person, you go out there and figure it out. Like I kept you alive for this amount of time. I giving you all the knowledge and all that I know and what built me here, what made what how I made it here to this point. I told you that. I taught you that. Now go. It's not my responsibility to teach you everything you might be interested in when you're an adult. How could you know? That's like blaming your parents for not being a violinist. It's like what? I didn't know. How was I
Yeah, but
supposed to
people
know you
do
were going to
that.
be interested in that?
People, I don't know. When people place, what that tells me is like people place a lot of like misguided expectations on other people
Mm-hmm.
because I know the cutoff thing like is like a big deal. Everybody's like, oh, you cut them off if you ain't. And I don't know. I ain't never just had to like cut somebody off.
That's some MLM cult stuff.
I don't. You know, there may have been people who like you drift out of contact with or you grow apart from, but I've never been like I'm cutting him off or I'm cutting them off because
Mm-hmm.
you know he ain't trying to buy real estate with me or something like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't. I just feel like that's just not. Those are just unrealistic expectations. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've only expected my friends to be my friends for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it can grow into anything more than that, that'd be great because we already have that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? But even with family, it's like, well, why would I expect my dad to be into some of the things I'm into, or to be trying to do it? Like he's 30 some years older than me. Why would he be or 20 something? Why would we be into the same things? He grew up in a
Mm-hmm.
totally different time. Like my
Mm-hmm.
parents went to school when they couldn't even ride on the bus with white kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like life is different.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like life is totally different the way we live,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't expect them to be anything other than my mother and father. And just like any
Mm-hmm.
other member of my family member in my family, I don't expect them to be anything other than that. If it
Mm-hmm.
comes to something else, then great. But um, I just don't understand why we place these expectations on people who aren't these kinds of people. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's only, especially when it comes to you know real estate. Like I know all of our examples come from real estate, but that's because we're real estate professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in real estate, I mean, there aren't that many black, young black men,
Mm-hmm.
especially in commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I just P Minty's like the only other guy I know. It's
Yep.
me and P Minty.
Well, my mentor, shout out Anthony,
Oh, Anthony. Yeah,
Anthony
Anthony too.
Clayton.
That's right.
Yeah, he
So
brought me into the
it's
commercial
four of
realm.
us. It's four of us. It's me, you, Anthony, and P Minty.
Yeah, I've met I probably met one more guy. I can't remember his name right now.
That was, but they around your age?
Yeah, I'm a little older. We even Anthony is a little older, but just a few years though. Um, but even before I got, he was doing it for 6 7 years before that,
Hmm.
8 years. So he actually started in commercial. Um,
I mean, I would even say indirectly, or it could be directly that he kind of sparked. If it wasn't for him, neither one of us would be where we at today.
yeah, that's why I say he's my mentor in the commercial realm for sure. And he's only a few more years older than me.
Yeah.
Um, who else?
Might
Yeah,
just
it's
start
not a
moving.
lot. It's not a
Man,
lot
some
for sure. I mean,
yeah.
we can start right. We can continue now, and the next 30 years build a whole generation of other people who are now interested in this, and this is now an option.
Yeah. I mean, I brought that up though to say just based on the numbers, That's 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're listening, it might seem like, oh, well, there's so many people you're not counting. No, I've counted everyone.
I've counted everyone.
This is accounting for, like, at least in my market,
Mm-hmm.
right? In South LA, and yeah, like South LA, South Bay, South LA. I'm pretty sure even up on the west side. Um, like there's nobody that looks like us in the commercial space. Residential, there's quite a few. Um, there's a
It's still
number,
not
especially in
common.
South LA, but it's
Still not men though.
no,
It's mostly
it's the
women.
women. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, going out to the Inland Valley, I would say it definitely would have been you and Anthony only.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because
Yeah, I
I've
met
seen those
a few.
listings.
I met a few brokers when I went to a CCM event a long time ago. A few black guys. Um, he I forget where he works. He's in LA somewhere. But yeah, it's not many. It's not many. You can probably write them all down on
A piece
a
of
sheet of
paper.
paper.
So if I'm gonna cut my friends off, right? If I'm gonna cut my friends off for not wanting to talk about real estate and all these other things, I ain't gonna have no friends because nobody is
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have any friends. Nobody is a nobody. Nobody from your neighborhood is in real estate on that level.
Mm-hmm.
To be sitting here talking to you about buying income property.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in your neighborhood is a stockbroker or even works on the trading floor, right? There's when you talk about likelihood,
Mm-hmm.
so you be cutting off everybody.
Yep. It's a lonely life. Yeah, I
Like,
think that's something we didn't do growing up in this business. I think most people severed ties from us for whatever reasons. Um, because I think we've always kept like an open door policy. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's always just been what it was. And I think sometimes people get to a point in their lives where, um, well, we talked about that last time. They're silently competing with you, and it's like if
mm-hmm.
they don't feel like they're on the same footing, they don't want to be around. I think that's the main thing. But it's like I don't expect you to know what I know. I don't care. I just just want to hang out, bullshit. Like this ain't like a you know if we have time to hang out and bullshit and catch up, that's fine. Like you said, if we want to build something, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. Like I'm not judging my relationships based on how they can be financially beneficial to me, and maybe that's what other people are doing. Maybe that's what the cutoff is. If this is not financially beneficial to me, um, I'm going to cut it off. So, which is trash.
To us. But
Yeah.
to other people, obviously, this it's the way you live life.
Yeah. That's going to be lonely. It's going to be lonely for a long time.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I think we can start to wrap it up. We've been going because we can keep going on this forever. Um, but I did want to talk about um, two things in particular that popped up throughout the week that I thought were pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, the first being, there's a story. I sent you the article, so we kind of already laughed at him. But
We gotta stop laughing at people. People, families come after us like, yeah, I can find you too, sucker. You jive turkey.
um, one guy who I believe was he a veteran? He was like a disabled veteran. I don't know if he was a disabled veteran, but he was on Social Security.
No, he was not. He was just disabled.
Okay,
No, wait, he's on disability.
disability.
Yeah,
So he was making like $200 a month or something like that, or
something like
yeah, like
that.
$200 a
Surviving on
month.
200 or something.
So he was basically homeless.
Yeah.
And 200, bro, $200 like a month, man. Out here, bro, like you might be in a nicer homeless area, but you still homeless.
Bro, I'm not talking to you. What the heck is a nicer homeless
you
area?
might you might be homeless like in Santa Monica or something. I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
Um,
I'm not I can't go down that joke line. I can't. I'm gonna hold those all in. I'm gonna hold those all.
oh man.
Yeah.
So
Oh
oh man,
man.
I feel for him. So anyway, the guy was on hard times, and I guess he had like a blanket or something,
Yeah,
like
he
that
had
was
like
like an Indian blanket.
a blanket that was a Navajo blanket from like the
That's what it
1800s.
was. Yeah.
That was, I guess, in his family, and I guess he found it in the attic somewhere, and took it to get appraised. It ended up being worth, was it 1.8,
I think it was like 1.5.
something like that, $1 million, and
Yeah.
it made him an immediate
Millionaire.
millionaire on paper. I mean, let's get the maintenance. Let's get talk about the maintenance.
So so
The
he,
maintenance that eats you up.
so this guy is now a millionaire. All right. So after taxes, I think they said he took home 1.3, which
Mm-hmm.
seems strange, but they say he
Seemed
took
like a
home
lot.
1.3.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because yeah.
he had to write off them two baskets.
So,
Depreciated, depreciated his baskets.
you talk about me, all right? So
I was trying to hold him in.
he he takes home $1.3 million or something like that. And I think the first thing he did was, I'm not sure if he bought the car first or the house, but
Yeah,
he ends up buying, he buys a car, like a $200,000.
it's like
um
a Challenger or Charger.
I think it's the Challenger.
It's probably like a Hellcat or something like that.
Yeah,
But
but it
it's
was
brand
from West
new.
Coast. No, it wasn't. It was a 2012.
Oh,
But it
okay.
was it was from West Coast Customs, and they put all this money into it.
Oh, you want to pit my ride vehicle?
Yeah. So he buys a $200,000 Dodge. He buys a 200,000. Oh, no, no, no. Let me rephrase this properly. He pays $200,000 for like a $30,000 car. Okay. So so that's what he does. And
Right.
that's like brand new. It was like 30 grand. So at
Mm-hmm.
this point, a 2012 Challenger is probably like, I don't know,
Right.
10,000 bucks.
It's valuable to him.
Um, so then he goes and buys two houses. I think one for him, and I think one for a relative in
Mm-hmm.
California. Um, I can't remember where exactly, but he buys two houses, right? So now
Mm-hmm.
he has the car, he has two houses. Then he had family who found out that he won, that he hadn't talked to in forever. They wouldn't talk
Mm-hmm.
to him at all. He had family who found out he won. They start asking him for money. He's telling them, I don't have no money. I just bought these houses.
Mm-hmm. I think his sister came from like, well, that was basically
That was the
our
family
family
blanket.
legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that. I seen that blanket too.
Yeah. So um then, which makes me, now that you said that, makes me believe that he knew it was there and he
Mm-hmm.
knew it was worth something. He just didn't know it was worth that. And he was
That
like,
how much?
yeah, he's like, peace out. Um, so then at some point, and this is all within the span of the same 12 months, but at some
Mm-hmm.
point, he's now losing money
Mm-hmm.
from taxes, property tax. So every single month he's negative from property tax.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy went from homeless to wealthy
Mm-hmm.
in a matter of months, and he was already at the point of saying, California is taxing me too much, I have to move.
12 months of being wealthy or being a participant in the California market.
He went from I hate Jeff Bezos, no one should
Mm-hmm.
have $1 billion, uh what else, people are starving out here, do something for us, to I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to pay these taxes no more in 12 months.
Right. it's a wonder how fast your your thought process changes when you start participating in capitalism. It benefits you.
So I'm like, man, you was rich for like a day, and you're already complaining about taxes.
Mm-mm.
Um, and then secondly, there was another guy who won the lotto. He won I think
Mm-hmm.
what 30,000 in the lotto, and
Yeah,
he bought a $20,000 necklace.
$20,000
So
chain.
so think let's get this right. He won $30,000 and spent 20 grand on a necklace.
Mm-hmm.
So after taxes, he doesn't have any money no more.
Yep.
It's all in his necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got robbed at the gas station.
Say good on him. He was supposed to get robbed. That's the person you're supposed to rob because they don't care about the money at all anyway. They had no value in that money to wear it on your neck to spend 75, 80% of it of a windfall on a jewelry piece
No, he spent 100% of it because after
on
taxes, that's
on
all he had,
decoration. He spent all the money on decorating his neck.
and got robbed. Like I just find it interesting that you know, and it's not that like I'm insensitive. I'll say I instead of we. It's not that I'm insensitive or I don't care. It's just when things change for people, they change. This is why I say I don't. People don't care about people,
Mm-hmm.
right? You only care about your situation because you
Mm-hmm.
you standing next to these people, and it's hard to pull someone out of a ditch when you standing next to them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but as soon as you get the bag, as the cool kids
Mm-hmm.
say, all of a sudden it's different. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, well,
You go off on your
I'm,
own. You go off in your
yeah,
corner and go handle yours. Take care of yours. Yep. That's why I don't believe. I don't believe. I don't believe. I don't care what nobody's saying. I don't believe none of. I don't believe none of what they saying until they have the money in their hands.
it's just,
And
it's
that
just
goes the
like,
same for
how are
me.
you, how
I'm
are you
always
rich
like,
for 10 minutes, bro, and you complaining about taxes?
all right,
Like, it wasn't
yeah.
even a full day, and you like, yo, California's, yo, they treating us bad. What you
You
mean
start
us?
complaining about anything that ruins your life. It ruins your life personally. You're like, this is affecting me. I don't like this. When it's not affecting you, you don't care.
Yeah, man. So
That's the basis of everyone.
yeah, so to wrap up the episode, I just want to say people don't care about people. Um,
I do appreciate the first guy bought a house though. He has some type of thought process on. At least I need somewhere to live, and not something to wear.
yo, you a savage, man. You talking about me? You a savage, man. Cause
See,
you be
that's
acting
why.
like you care. You be like, oh
No,
yeah, I
no, no,
care,
no,
but it like, nah, you stupid though.
nah. Think about that. These are you are born. You are born with the knowledge of I need some place to live, and no matter how poor or rich you are, that's usually the first thing in your head. If the first thing in your head is I need something to buy to wear, you're an idiot and you're not going to make it anyway. Like we talked about a guy who had nothing, and the first thing he thought was, when I get something, I'm going to put shelter over me that can't be taken. And the other person said, I'm going to put a chain on me that can be stolen. Like
Well, do you
those
do
two
you
people are no, I can't care about the latter. I can't. They don't
do
care.
you do you think that has to do with like maybe the person being homeless or on that level thinking, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna buy a place to live versus like someone who already has a place to live, even if it's not ideal, not
Mm-hmm.
realizing. Because I think the chain thing was in Detroit, and you can buy a
Mm-hmm.
house in Detroit for like $10.
Yeah,
So
but
I
he
mean, he
didn't.
could have he,
That's the thing. He didn't.
he could have bought his whole neighborhood. He said, "Nah,
Right.
I'm put this on my neck."
Yeah. You talking about buy the block. Okay. You could have bought 10, 15 homes.
That's
Like, come
funny,
on.
by the way. But yeah,
These people, like, they're not interested in doing that. Some people just aren't. I'm not saying everyone isn't, but like, come on. It's something innate in you when you get a windfall of money, and the first thing you think about is, I want to take care of myself and the people close to me. There's people who are just built like that,
Mm-hmm.
and some people aren't. So the people who aren't, I can't identify with, and no, I do not care. I don't care. I don't care if they don't make it because they're not. They don't care. You know, they don't care about people. At least the other guy he can't live in two houses, so obviously he bought a house for somebody else that he cared
Yeah.
about to house, right?
Unless he
So
bought it for his car.
it's a showroom for my car. He just have like Pit My Ride playing on all different screens all
Mm-hmm.
day. That'd be dope. I would visit that place.
Yeah, man, it was a lot. So, but
Yes, sir.
anyway, we gotta get back to work. Try
Yeah,
to do
finish the
some
rest of
work.
the day.
So, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Go ahead, like and subscribe and all that.
And comment.
Um,
You know,
yeah,
we won't
definitely
find you.
comment. Yeah,
Comment whatever you
don't
want.
listen to me. I just be talking crazy. Don't. I'm not gonna come find you. I'm not gonna call you. Like, just drop a comment. Let us know. Let us know how y'all feeling. We got
We
some
got a pretty.
interesting things coming soon. The
Mm,
website should be done pretty soon. Then I'll have some merch on there. I'm working on that right now. Um, but yeah, definitely like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you know every time we upload something, you get the alert. Um, if you're new, because we actually got a bunch of new followers from Maddie J. Because William and Matt did an Instagram live, and they told people to come to check out the podcast. So we got a good amount of people who are new here from Maddie J and
yeah,
William the
we
Mogul.
appreciate the shout outs.
So yeah, absolutely. Shout out Maddie J. He's the only internet dude that I would even have a real conversation with.
What's it at?
Um,
I know Will is
CEO
some
Maddie J.
okay. Will is
At
some will, some
CEO
won't.
Maddie J. Yeah, William is some will, some won't. Will you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, shout
It'll
out
come
y'all.
up when you type it up. It'll come up. You don't even have to finish it. You know.
Yeah. And then follow Rich by Monday. Tell your friends, tell your family. And yeah, we'll keep building this tribe. I'm enjoying this. This is a dozen episodes now. So
Yeah, I feel like we for real podcasters and
mhm.
like on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I told somebody to click the notification bell. Like that's YouTuber slang. Like it don't get no more YouTube than that.
Right.
You
You
know.
can also do click the notification bell on Instagram too, if you want our different
Oh, I
posts to
didn't know
come up.
that. Oh, okay. All
Hmm
right. You see, you learn
Yeah,
something every day.
click all them bills. You know, we internet people now. We on the
Yeah,
internet.
man. So appreciate you guys. Once again, I'm your host because we didn't do it at the beginning. I'm your host, Jared Wilkins, aka the Google
Yeah,
grad,
and I'm Dorance Creighton.
and we'll
Thanks for
catch you
coming.
guys next week
Yes, and we're out.
on time.